Greetings, salutations, and however the heck you say hello in Huttese. This is Space Capes and Laser Swords, the Scarlet Rhapsody Star Wars podcast for one and all. I am your host, Jared the Greek, and with me is...
Ari Kagami, and we're here to talk about the Star Wars expanded universe in all its forms, comics, books, and in this episode, theme parks.
Yeah, for those who aren't keeping up with all the crazy Disney news, they've done all this cool Marvel stuff and... Oh wait, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy just kind of opened a couple days ago, and I'm seeing everyone's Tibbin collection selfies. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Sad day. Anywho, Season of the Force has been this seasonal thing that's been happening at Disneyland. We're actually pretty close to the Disneyland park, and this is something they've overlaid in Tomorrowland on a seasonal basis. So it came
usually starting around May.
Yeah, usually starting... Well, actually, it's kind of winding down right now because they're reverting Hyperspace Mountain back to the original Space Mountain.
Then never mind. It starts in like March.
Actually, it starts around during the time when the next movie is hyping up. So they were like really hyping it up back again when they replaced Kylo Ren with Darth Vader at the launch bay. So it's usually
for Rogue One.
Yeah, for Rogue One.
All right,
because Kylo Ren has like no business being there.
Yeah. So then, basically, around the time where we're getting, the Haunted Mansion holiday and all that, they're also just changing up Tomorrowland as well.
And they've been changing it up in accordance to like whatever movies are are going to be released at the time. So just a little bit about Season of the Force. It's been going on since The Force Awakens, last year before or so. And basically, it's just this overlay they put on Tomorrowland. Not gonna lie, Tomorrowland just hasn't really been much of a Tomorrowland. It's just like one of those lands that just really needs some new life into it. So they've been like just retheming a lot of Tomorrowland, this and that with Star Wars. For example, they remove Interventions and they use it for Star Wars Launch Bay. They remove Captain EO and use that for Path of the Jedi, which is pretty much like a recap of all the Star Wars movies in 3D.
But Captain EO kind of is Star Wars. It was done by George Lucas.
And Francis Ford Coppola.
So who are buddies, by the way. They're college buddies, for those who don't know. And I think it was Francis Ford Coppola. Whatever. Doesn't matter. The point is, I feel that that's more fitting to Star Wars than a recap for movies you should just have already seen because they're part of Americana at this point.
And by the way, I kind of had canonized Michael Jackson's Captain EO in the Star Wars world because George Lucas reasons, but that's just me. And for a while, after I learned about the truth about Max Rebo, like just only having 2 limbs, I thought that for like the longest time as a kid, I thought Hooter the Elephant in Captain EO was Max Rebo. So I just thought they were the same creature for like the longest time when I was a kid.
I thought they were the same species. I didn't think they were the same character. But then, yeah, the creepy realization that Max Rebo's species have no arms, they just have legs.
We just found that out like 2 days, like a couple weeks ago. Like, whoa.
I'm still bothered by this and don't like it.
I mean, it's not even referenced in Tales of Jabba's Palace either. So
yeah, well, because the way the puppet looks like is it looks like he has arms, and the reason is because there was no way for the puppeteer to contort in a way where he could control it with the legs. And then, according to all the original notes, yeah, it's supposed to be they're 2-legged creatures, which makes them very alien, but not very logical.
Indeed. Also, we have Star Tours there, and it's Star Wars The Adventure Continues. No need for sponsorship now that's part of Disney. Like, remember when like Star Tours was like sponsored by Energizer and M&M's?
I always remember Energizer. I think M&M's was when I wasn't going to Disneyland. But it is sad to lose Captain Rex.
Captain Rex is still there.
Not the real Captain Rex.
Well, Captain Rex is just somewhere like in storage, and you can still hear his voice.
Yeah, you see him in a little under section there, looking a little
There's various
messed up.
Captain Rex animatronics and all. And, it's... You and I were there for opening weekend when Star Wars Adventure Continues.
Oh, yeah, it was only like a 2-hour wait. It was fine.
2-hour, 3-hour, I forgot what combination we got, but it's just sometimes you can just get like the most random combinations, and after you're done with the ride, especially if you know the Star Wars universe as much as we do, we're like, okay, so we started with Jakku, we ended on Naboo, but it has the same technology from
the Clone Wars era.
Yeah.
So
it makes you
apparently
think.
time travel is a thing in the world of Star Wars. Man, how much did you mess up our hyperdrive?
So every now and then, if I'm on that ride with someone like Jared, who's like hardcore into Star Wars, like, okay, we need to discuss like continuity here, because I don't know how you get like Jakku and then you end with Naboo.
Or the ones where you begin at like Hoth, but then you go to Geonosis.
And
I'm like, okay.
And then also, what was I going to say again? Dang it. It was in my mind for like a little bit.
Well, I've always felt that they should have... I like the idea of the randomness of the adventure continues, and it's been this way for, 5 years or so now at least. Probably more than that.
Yeah, probably more than that too.
And-
Oh, here's what I was thinking. I mean, we already had, like, Star Wars fan community already had, like, a brain freeze when we were trying to decide what era Star Tours took place during the original ride. Because it's clearly a completed Death Star. So, okay, episode 4, Trench Run. Okay. And then people were like, well, maybe it's a Return of the Jedi, because they were pointing out, like, just some of, like, the new TIE fighters and that was available during the time, and, like, the X-Wings during the time.
But not only that, but also Rex makes a comment saying, I've always wanted to do this, which would heavily imply that that's happened before. Someone has done a trench run in the past that he could reference. So, but then it clearly looks completed. It's not the incomplete Death Star, which means, what is our third Death Star? It's created at one point?
Again, it goes with my theory that I've had for a while of, like, multiple Death Stars. But there's plenty of YouTube videos out there for the multiple Death Star theory.
Yeah, there are.
You can watch those instead of having me ramble on. But anywho, yeah, Star Tours is still there, and also they decorate Tomorrowland in a way where, like, they have, like, banners of, like, all the Star Wars villains and Star Wars heroes and everyone in between. And then they also changed it up this season, like when they had it during the Force Awakens period, like a couple of years ago when they first started around. Like, I'm like, yay, Rebels characters, Ahsoka, Ezra, I like those people. Rebels seriously needs a lot more love. Thank you very much. And then, as much as I love Rogue One, and I know they were trying to hype up Rogue One, they took down all the Rebels characters and replaced them with the Rogue One people.
Yeah, well, this is because the thing is, when you're going to do, say, TFA, what you have is like 3 kind of hero characters, I guess you can kind of show around, unless you want to show the old people, and you have like 2 villain characters you can kind of show around, maybe 3 if you're going to count Hux. So you can kind of have extra room for that. But when you have a whole team of like 5-6 characters to begin with, plus then Tarkin and Krennic and Vader, you run out of space for your banners. So I'm sure when it goes to episode 8, maybe they'll throw some Rebels characters up there again, but who knows by that point, because since they're hyping the hell out of a bunch of characters, so I'm sure we'll have 3 minutes of screen time in episode 8.
We call that wasted talent. Isn't that right, Captain Phasma? Or Phasma, however you pronounce your name.
Depends if you're British or not.
Anywho, they also have, like, exclusive Star Wars merchandise. So I think the last time I was there, they had, like, the popcorn bucket for Han Solo frozen in carbonite.
And I have the popcorn bucket for the
TIE Fighter.
the new whatever the term, I can't remember the proper term for it, but it is the First Order TIE Fighter. There's a specific name for the larger variation.
And what I like about the popcorn buckets...
I think it's called TIE Elite.
Yeah, what I like about the popcorn buckets is they could also double for purses, especially if you're Disneybounding. And Jared, he also Disneybounds as an Imperial Flight Officer, so...
As a man, I need a purse.
You just need something to store stuff, and you can have your TIE Fighter with you! It's so adorable.
And I needed to do more of a First Order outfit, because that's a First Order TIE Fighter.
Okay, we'll work on that later.
I am not Star Tours. I try to be continuity accurate, thank you much.
This is how much hardcore people we are. I'm still also working on my Imperial Officer bound with various vintage clothing.
So hardcore, you're trying to cosplay from Legends. That's how hardcore we are.
Anyhow.
As is other people we know.
And also, I also ended up getting some Star Wars food stuff. Because they also, like, change up the menus in Red Rocket's Pizza Parlor, or whatever it's called. I always like going there because, like, I can always find a seat there, and it's kind of like, I can always, like, sit in the patio right by the Space Mountain line where it's a little bit more quiet and I can kind of catch my breath.
Yeah, it's where me and my friends are right there. It's weird. I always go to that area.
That's pretty much my go-to place for Disneyland food, and especially if I want to carb up with something a little bit on the healthier side, they have something called a pasta dish called the Forest of Endor, Tour of Endor, something to that effect. It is not pancit.
Then I'm out.
It's actually this really this vegetarian-friendly pasta dish. I'm not a vegetarian, but I'm the type of connoisseur that loves like vegetable-based pastas because, like, yeah, I like to balance my carbs and my veggies, especially if I know I'm going to have a long day at Disney. So I usually carb up with that on at any time I'm at Disney and I'm now going to have a long day there. Expect typical Disney prices, but I like it because it's spicy, a lot of them fresh vegetables on there, and then just pair it up with a Gold Peak lemonade iced tea type thing, and that's pretty much can take care of me for the day.
On the junk food side of things, they also have the colored churros.
Yeah, they have light side and dark side, and being the Star Wars nerd I am, I'm like, nothing for a Grey Jedi.
Yeah, no purple lightsabers here.
Yeah, no purple churros, or if you're like me and like Ahsoka, well, Ahsoka's lightsaber is like white. That would be like yellowish. A super sugary.
It's more yellowish.
And I'm thinking like Rebels era.
Her Rebels era, yeah, her secondary one that she gets.
Yeah, like her dual lightsaber type thing. Like it's more on the white side. I was like, oh, that would be like a lot of sugar on my churro, and I'd just be like bouncing off the walls. Like I'm at the tiki rooms, like, hey, these birds are talking. Anyhow, so the other snackages they have that you can order, I'm not sure if you could order blue milk. I remember it was there for a time. But they also do have the light side lemonade and the dark side lemonade. And even though I do identify as a Grey Jedi, I ended up going for the dark side lemonade, which is pretty much a strawberry lemonade. And each drink, like if you get the light side, it's more like a lemon lime lemonade.
I'm in.
And it has like a glow-in-the-dark Millennium Falcon inside of it.
Oh.
And the dark side one has a tiny Death Star.
Perfect for Krennicking.
Like, yeah, you can like literally take the Death Star and you can like just turn it into a necklace and like, hey, Krennic Disneybound-ish.
Yeah. I mean, you need all the other stuff, but it'd be a good start. It'd be a fun start because and you could do the Millennium Falcon too. You could do a Disneybound for Han or Chewie or something as well.
Yeah, Jared, he wants to cosplay
Rey,
as Krennic, and we would like to have him have a Death Star plush to carry around.
It would be nice.
So he can cuddle with it.
It's mine.
Anywho, so Star Wars Launch Bay, that's what they replaced Inventions with.
Which was also replaced by Marvel Ventions, or whatever they called it.
Marvel HQ.
Marvel HQ.
So it used to be Marvel HQ, and prior to that it used to be Inventions. Prior to that it used to be America Sings. So you have like this huge...
They've never figured out what to do with that dome.
Yeah, I think that dome has like a lot of potential, and I think this is going to be Star Wars HQ until they have Star Wars Land in the mix.
Yeah, because then it'll get moved.
So basically, it's kind of like a Star Wars museum where you can see like props. You can watch a documentary on like the history of behind the scenes of Star Wars, the making of Star Wars. And then, like, as you enter in, you can kind of see, like, a title crawl, like, this is Star Wars Launch Bay. They kind of, like, show off, like, the different, like, models of, like, the Death Star, various X-Wings, this and that. You can buy stuff there, so there's also the merch place because Disneyland wants your money. Before they used to they sell, like, the Imperial officer black hats. Now they sell, like, the green hats last I was there. And they used to sell, like, the medals that was given to... the main cast at the end of New Hope, except for Chewie for some reason.
The Triumph of the Will scene.
And yeah, so what I like about Launch Bay is sometimes, like, if I have nothing else to do around Disney, or if I just want to like kill time, or just want to just have fun with something.
Well, once it gets to summer, then it's your place to cool off.
And charge, because there's also like the secret outlets there.
I didn't know about that last time I was there when it was Marvel HQ, but it was a nice, God, it's hot, go inside. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Tony Stark. You've saved us all with your air conditioning.
So sometimes when I'm there, I like to do like the photo ops, because you can do photo ops with Chewie, Darth Vader, and Boba Fett. Boba Fett? Where? Oh, he's in Star Wars Launch Bay. He's like in the canteen a bit.
Huh.
So sometimes I go in, I just get some photos of Darth Vader. I actually did that during Disneyland Lolita Day. I was wearing my Haunted Mansion outfit. I actually did do Star Wars Disneybound. I think the last time I was there, you can see it on the photo of the vlog. I was Disneybounding as Wedge Antilles, and I got a picture with Darth Vader. That was a lot of fun. And let's see. And I ended up getting one with Boba Fett. Boba Fett is like the quickest line because it's just like just go in, just go out. And I remember when I was waiting in line for Boba Fett, there was like this elderly couple that was like right behind me, and they were all like, "Wait, what's the difference between Jango Fett and Boba Fett?"
And you have that horrible moment as a hardcore fan where you want to give them the 20-minute long dissertation, and instead you just keep your mouth shut and just walk forward and go, "Don't say anything, don't say anything. Just get your photo and go. Just get your photo and go."
Like, I wanted to explain to them, but I'm just trying to, like, okay, how do I explain this in, like, less than 140 characters?
Exactly. That was like, I was at a convention, and this is not Star Wars related, but if you know your Japanimes, you'll know the series. I heard this couple going like, "I'm looking for something for my daughter, because she's really into the Love Live." And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, the Love Live. Oh my god, it's the greatest, like, mispronunciation of that series ever. I love Love Live.
Who's your best girl in Love Live?
Eli.
Eli Vanto?
Yeah.
Yeah, Love Live.
Eli ISA, technically. But, yeah, she's best girl. So, I love when people who are trying so hard but just don't know because it's just not their thing or whatever, and me as a nerd either wants to start laughing or explain to them, and I know in my heart of hearts that just makes me turn into an ass in front of them. Like, no one wants me to go and say, it's like, actually, it's pronounced Love Live because they're live performing, and, like, no, don't do that. Well, see, Boba Fett is actually the son of Jango Fett, but technically he's also a clone because he was a perfect clone. Like, it's kind of like the difference between, like, the Twin Snakes versus, like, Solidus, and you guys are familiar with Metal Gear, right? I mean, you guys are in your 40s, so clearly you know Metal Gear.
Because this is, like, an older age couple, so I'm just kind of thinking, like, in the back of my mind, like, how to explain it to them in, like, layman's terms. But, like, they flagged a cast member down, and they were able to explain it to them. And I found it very interesting that, like, the cast members for Boba Fett were, like, wearing imperial-ish outfits.
He always gets cited with that. I mean, even in Battlefront and stuff like that, when in the versions that have Boba Fett, he is usually on the Imperial side because that Vader hires him in the movies.
Because I understand they're doing that just to keep things simple, but I always just assumed that Mandalorians just kind of like were their own thing and just kind of sided for their own thing.
He's not representing Mandalore. He's a bounty hunter. He works for whoever pays him. The
Makes
Empire
sense.
pays better. Technically, the Hutts pay better. Hutts pay best. But, I mean, like for Han Solo, just for, information-wise people, he is not only being paid by Vader to find the Millennium Falcon, he's being then paid by Jabba the Hutt for bringing him Han Solo. So he's actually double dipping. That's the kind of hardcore guy this is. While Mandalore itself is kind of neutral during this time period because they got devastated by stuff that hasn't been fully clearly explained yet. Or at least as far as I've read and I've watched, I haven't seen anything clearly explain what happened to Mandalore post-Clone Wars, pre-Rebellion. Although I think there is a book or something that's supposed to be covering that eventually. Especially because they've tied in Sabine's backstory to what happened there. So there has to be some sort of thing explaining that.
Yeah, so I got a couple photos of Boba Fett with any time he was available there, because he just kind of shows up randomly, and the line goes by pretty fast. I've done Chewbacca a couple of times, and you have it's not even a trash compactor, it's just kind of like this little Jedi temple, like alcove. It's kind of like that Maz's joint in Force Awakens. Like, of course she would be hanging out there.
I would have liked it to set it up looking like a treehouse from Kashyyyk.
Oh, that'd be nice. Because, like, outside his queue, it looks like a Jedi temple of sorts. So I've always assumed, like, oh, it's Maz's Cantina dealio.
Yeah, which also, looks like they renovated a Jedi temple.
And I just kind of assumed that, like, Chewie's regular at Maz's joint.
Enough for Maz to make commentary about it, yeah.
Mm-hmm, just kind of giving Chewie the whole, like, waitress talk.
Yeah.
Unless Chewie's a space Mormon.
No, I didn't get that there was actually a relationship there. It was just more of her being flirty waitress. Or, well, hostess, I guess, in this case. Mm-hmm. But that's what I saw it as. It's kind of the way that, this is a weird thing to draw from, B. Arthur acts in her cantina scene in the Star Wars Christmas special, where she seems like she just knows everyone at the bar, and she's like buddies with everyone at the bar. that's kind of what Maz seems to be, for certain people that she feels is worth talking to, obviously, like Han and Chewie. I'm sure there's a handful of like aliens we'd have never heard of who are in that category as well, and probably some random bounty hunters who are on the more honorable side, stuff like that. So probably not Dengar. Dengar's a dick. He is. That's why he gets killed by Mara Jade.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
But anywho, Star Wars Launch Bay, that it's a really nice place to just cool off and refresh and just kind of get some photos with like some of the characters. On average, it's about like half-hour wait, but I've waited a lot less than that to just get some cool photo ops with Vader or Chewie or Boba Fett.
And I think that's a bit, probably about the same as it was when it was Marvel HQ, because when they had, Iron Man, or I think Captain America may have been in there at the time. That was Thor. I think it was Iron Man and Thor were the people they had when I went there, and I think it was Thor. It's been way too long. Those lines weren't super insanely long. Like, yeah, probably about half an hour. But then they also have about enough background goodness, I would assume, just like Marvel HQ, to be, take the photo with Iron Man's suits, take the photo next to Thor's hammer, take the photo with the laboratory where they injected Cap with the super soldier serum, stuff like that. So I assume there's those kind of just general set pieces as well.
Yeah, generally so. Yeah, and they even have like the cantina, like a little piece of the cantina in there too, where like even if Boba Fett wasn't around, like you can take some photos there. Like I actually know a couple of my friends who are like who go to Disney and wear dapper clothes. They just kind of like just pose there and just kind of look like, hey, what's up? It's cantina.
All cosplays. I don't like you either, guy.
Don't you mean Disneybound as I don't like you either, guy?
Yeah, that's right. I'd have to Disneybound. Well, Disneybound is I don't like you either, guy.
Apparently he has names like Doctor something or other.
They both have a name. I just don't know what it is off the top of my head. So it's I don't like you and I don't like you either, guy.
Don't worry. There's probably going to be a novel in between Rogue One and A New Hope, detailing their journey from Jeddah to the cantina.
And I want to write it because it's going to be halfway through the story. Will just be them bragging about how laser was coming down, destroying the city. We outran the laser, didn't we? That's right. He totally agrees with me, right, bro? Yeah. Anyhow, I think the next time we see some yokel from a local yokel show up, we're going to just threaten him for funsies. That's the worst that's going to happen. He's going to put a laser sword and cut your arm off. Yeah, like that happened. Right, bro? Sweet. High fives. Just them being total douchey bros. Be great. Everyone else look at me going like, why did you write the douchey bros book? I'm like, because it would be funny.
Yeah, and just upon exiting Star Wars HQ, you have like this mural that says "May the Force be with you," and there's a lot of people who just take photos like right in front of it. Mm-hmm. I think the last time I was there, I did Wedge Antilles, and I also did Star Butterfly. So anytime I'm there, I just have to get my photo there and just post it on Instagram with the line and also with you.
Yep.
Anywho, so just other Star Wars stuff. Oh, Hyperspace Mountain, which just closed a couple days ago.
So you can't go on it until about. They get starting to really hype up The Last Jedi. Then you'll be able to go on it again.
Mm-hmm. So Hyperspace Mountain, it is better than the book. Trust me on this. It is better than the book by Claudia Gray. So Claudia Gray wrote this book called Lost Stars. And it's pretty much if Star Wars was this dramatic Romeo and Juliet love triangle with Imperials and this guy who looks like Lance Bass fighting for the rebellion.
Close enough.
Jared hates it.
I do hate this book. This book is poorly written. It's a terrible story featuring Mary Sue characters, and I have a lot of rage for that.
And it's also a manga now. It's hilarious because there's
It's not a real manga, though. It's on a stupid app that no one has.
And it's just hilarious, though, because, the promotional photo is of Vader just, looking all awesome and just pointing out to these two characters. He's like, behold, my Mary Sue fanfiction!
I'm a person, and my name is... I can't remember the name of the characters in that story.
I just
been blocked.
I don't know what their characters' names are. Because of the manga, I just call, the guy Lance Bass, and the other chick Selena Gomez.
Close enough.
They're forgetful anyway. So anyway...
I like Lance Bass. He's a nice guy. He's done a bunch of those, celebrity reality shows where he does charity work and what have you.
Anywho, well, yeah, I always
Selena Gomez survived a terrorist attack.
No, that was, what's her face? Ariana Grande.
Oh, never mind. Ariana Grande survived a terrorist attack. I don't give a crap about Selena Gomez anymore.
Okay, so
Well, when she survives a terrorist attack, then we'll talk.
Okay, so then, long story short, so Lost Stars, the only thing you need to get out of it is like, oh, so that's why that Star Destroyer crashed on Jakku.
Imagine Twilight, but it ends with the Star Destroyer crashing, not because of some epic battle, but because of massive incompetence. And instead of the two lovers, like, holding hands and dying together in some tragic Romeo and Juliet way, they just leave in an escape pod, and the Imperial girl goes to jail.
The end.
Happy ending. It didn't end up them being farmers on Jakku or something, or just jetting off back to their home world. No. The girl goes to jail, and the boy's like, someday they'll exonerate you, because I know you're not a bad person. The end. And I'm just like,
Vader, this is the worst fanfic ever.
Padme would think it's cool. And then he just chokes the guy to death. And the guy's like, who the hell is Padme? And then falls over dead. Because the average person wouldn't have any idea who Padme is. That would not be a name in anyone else's lexicon.
No, I swear, like, if you look at the Japanese fan art for it, not fan art, the Japanese...
It may as well be.
The Japanese art for it is just Vader just looking all like awesome, just kind of pointing out to the two mains, like, behold, my fan fiction.
Guess who doesn't show up in this story at all? Darth Vader. He is nowhere in that book. He might be referenced, but he doesn't interact with the characters at all. He's not in that book. It is two Mary Sue characters dealing with their issues.
But trust us when we say that Hyperspace Mountain is better than the book.
Yeah, so this actually shows the squadrons going in and shooting down the Star Destroyer over Jakku, which is a significantly better thing. And hell, I think even Empire's End may have a better version of that story as well. Hell, Battlefront has a better version of that story.
Anyhow, so basically, it's the same ride as Space Mountain, but they just changed up the music, obviously. When you go up, you get the spiel done by Admiral Akbar. You're part of the 77 Squadron, reference to those of you who know Space Mountain trivia. By the way, happy 40 years to Space Mountain.
77's also when Star Wars came out.
That too. It's also Space Mountain's 40th anniversary, and Star Wars' 40th anniversary.
The coincidences will never end.
Right?
Because there's no such thing as a coincidence.
So, you're part of the 77 Squadron, and then you also have backup from the Blue Squadron. And then they give you the spiel and on a ride, and it's Admiral Akbar's like, he does like the whole safety thing, and it's like, oh, by the way, you're gonna shoot down this Star Destroyer over Jakku, blah blah blah. Blue Squadron will back you guys up.
As a weird note, I'm fairly certain Poe Dameron's mother was a member of Blue Squadron. Now, whether this is that same Blue Squadron and she's flying in this mission, I don't actually know.
There is female voice when you go up the ramp, and they're all like, yeah, this is Blue leader checking in, this is Blue 2, Blue 3, and there's a female voice there.
The female voice might actually be Poe Dameron's mom. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Shattered Empire. Now I know that stuff.
So the thing is, so it's a lot of fun. I like how they added all the effects. I like how they added like X-Wings and TIE Fighters into this. I'm like, oh my god, this is like X-Wing versus TIE Fighters ride.
Which is pretty cool. And, you know, you're still giving me the same fun roller coaster experience to begin with.
And with the John Williams score in the background, and then, like, again, I thought it was a lot of fun. Like, a lot of people, I know they missed the original Space Mountain.
But it'll be back now-ish.
Yeah, Space Mountain will be back, and then it'll be transferred to Ghost Galaxy. And after Ghost Galaxy, when Episode 8 comes out, Hyperspace will be back.
Yep.
So yeah, Hyperspace Mountain, highly recommend.
When you can get to it later this year.
Mm-hmm. But for now, just enjoy the original Space Mountain with music by the same composer from Rogue One.
See, so it's still kind of part of the Star Wars universe.
Well, the same composer for Rogue One also did music for The Incredibles, so he's kind of like contracted with Disney. And that's why the music in the current Space Mountain sounds very Incredibles-like.
Yes, it does.
It sounds very James Bondian.
Yeah.
And then, and the person prior to doing the original Space Mountain music was Dick Dale of Pulp Fiction fame.
Yeah. So yeah, it's had a couple different themes, and that's just the one for us. That's not including, because I know the theme for France is different, because the whole ride is themed differently.
Yeah, it's
France.
like steampunk.
It's Earth to the Moon by
Verne.
Verne, thank you. Jules Verne. Is what it's based off of, so you'd have a different music and a different whole feel to it. So they probably don't get a Star Wars variation of that. Shazam Rakbar, you need to go to the moon! The moon! Just not quite the same.
So yeah, there's also like other interactions that you can do at Season of the Force. They had like a couple First Order troopers like just roaming around the area, looking for recruits for the First Order, and usually they just kind of like to stop by in one corner, and you can take photos with them. And it's really cute because they just kind of like just point to like, you, photo time. And they have like pre-recorded dialogue within the armor, and they're like, hey, you, join the Empire.
Which is pretty cool. And I like the fact you have little fun touches like that, which I mean, it's the same if, when you had like, any other Disney villains especially showing up, making their little commentaries and what have you.
I love
the ones that they had talking for, the ones that didn't talk, obviously just waved their arms around.
Yeah, I love interacting with the Disney villains. Like, I did Cruella de Vil not too long ago, and then she was like, oh, I'm more important than you. And then she just kind of like just hides my face like in the photo that we did. Disneyland's always fun for that. That's generally the basic gist of what's currently at Season of the Force, what's also left Season of the Force. I mean, there's also Jedi Training Academy, which did add in...
around, though.
Which did add in Kylo Ren, and also for a while they also added in the Ventress and the Inquisitors.
Yeah, which is actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah.
I like the fact that they're actually going into those types of characters for the kids. To like, hey kids, watch the cartoons.
Yeah, but I think everyone should watch Rebels, because Rebels is amazing.
Yep, 1 season left.
Okay, so Jared, if you can like have a face character, or otherwise at a Season of Force, which one would you like to interact with or take photos with that they don't currently have?
Do they have Chopper?
No, they don't have Chopper, but in the Florida park, you can, BB-8 actually greets you
when you enter the park. Cool.
And then I'm like, can we have Chopper? I mean, Florida can have BB-8, but can we have Chopper?
I like the droids. For me, I think I'd want something in the droids category. Or K2SO might be kind of fun, especially if he has some pre-recorded snark. That would be kind of great. Oh, I love your glasses. They make your head look smaller than it normally is. It's just like, thanks, K2, you jerk. Something like that would be actually kind of fun. But, of course, the problem for me is it's like, K2, can you say, I hate those doors, they're too happy? And just give me a look, like, oh, but you're the Marvin of the Star Wars universe. Something like that. I would probably go more for the droids. I think that'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah, for me, I just want to see like more Rebels stuff, but that's just me.
That's why Chopper is my first on that list.
Like Kanan, Jarrus, Hera, like even Ezra would be pretty cool too.
Yeah, either version.
And I'd be also fine with Ahsoka, like, running around the park, too, because, like, Ahsoka is, like, my best girl currently.
I think the only issue with her would be, like, the headdress thing. But they could probably make that look really nice.
Yeah, it's Disney. It's Disney costuming. They'll make it work.
Yeah. I shouldn't say headdress. It's technically her head. It's not something she put on over her head. That is literally her species head formation.
I actually did make a facetious comment, like, a while back. Okay, long story short... I was just trying to get out of this dramatic situation, this awkward situation when I was at the Disney parks at one of the dress-up days. I just had to, like, get out of it really quick. And then it's like, and then I said something to the effect like, oh, I gotta be at a Star Wars launch bay right now. They have Grand Admiral Thrawn right now at Star Wars launch bay. And I think someone overheard me, like, really? Thrawn?
Giving that person's hopes way too... Although, totally, they need to get Thrawn over there.
Oh, yes, I agree with that, too.
He's in Rebels now, they can do it. Oh, hello. Yes, you can join the Empire and be part of my plan to destroy the Rebels. That weird, strange accent they gave him. I don't quite get down right, because I think the actor is,
It's,
Norwegian or something?
Last name is Mikkelsen. I know he is the older brother of the actor that plays Galen Erso. He's Mads Mikkelsen's older brother.
That's
cool. Older brother.
Because I thought I heard that he was supposed to be from somewhere in Scandinavia, I thought. And that's what he's trying to do when he's doing that, is he's trying to do the English accent while trying to hide his accent at the same time. So it makes this odder kind of voice from... I heard something like that. I have to double check. Whatever country he's from, he's trying to hide his accent is what he's doing to create that accent. And I think that's kind of cool, because normally it seems a little silly when you... There's plenty of movies I've watched, especially European action movies, where someone's trying to sound American, but they're clearly a British person. And they try to do the hide the accent thing, and their voice just sounds a little weird. Or in the case of, like... what's his name from The Matrix and from Lord of the Rings? shoot. He tries to hide he's like Australian or something. He tries to hide his accent. That's why Mr. Smith talks the way he does, is because he's trying to hide the accent, and so his voice comes out a little weird and strained, which works great for the character, and I believe that's the same story for Thrawn and how they came up with the Thrawn voice. Which is good, because he's from a completely different region, and Basic is not his first language, so his voice would have a weird kind of accent to it, and it should.
Yeah, so I kind of got someone's hopes up high as that Thrawn was over at Launch Bay, like, oh crap. It was like the first thing that was like on the tip of my tongue to just get out of this awkward situation. Like, yeah, Thrawn is over at Star Wars Launch Bay. I gotta go now. Bye.
The poor person runs up. Oh wait, so I heard Thrawn was here, and the poor cast member's like, we don't have a Thrawn. But someone said in the like walks off all sad. We have Darth Vader. Yes.
Not as cool as Thrawn though.
Thrawn has glowing red eyes, blue skin.
I'm still trying to figure out how to Disneybound Thrawn. I mean, I have the white dress and all, and I know of a source where I can get the Jolly Rancher rank bars.
So you're trying to integrate the blue?
Yeah, I was just thinking like just wearing like one of those vintagey hats with like with the netting, and I'm like just thinking about just getting like red shades or something. If I can find like a pair of like retro red shades.
I mean that is what he does when he tries to be incognito. He puts on sunglasses.
Yeah, more on that when we do the Thrawn.
Thrawn versus
Thrawn versus Thrawn.
Thrawn versus Thrawn. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be probably next episode. But
depending on when you can finish Thrawn, and when I can finish Hand of Thrawn.
Yeah. Well, the big thing now is Season of the Force is going to cease to exist as soon as we have Star Wars Land in 2018.
I think 2 years, 2019.
Okay,
That's
2019?
the estimated launch date for Star Wars Land working title. It's currently Metal Gear Land, literally.
Yeah, the what are going to eventually be AT-ATs do kind of look like Metal Gears right now.
Yeah, right now, like, if you just, like, just pass that section on the freeway, or even you're in Big Thunder Mountain, like, you can just, like, oh, hey, those are Metal Gears.
Yeah, there's not a lot to really be said about Star Wars Land other than the 200 promises they've given us, and we don't want to make this a speculation podcast because those just aren't fun.
And you can get those, and you can get those elsewhere.
Yes, we're here about facts and what is not. So what is right now is you can kind of see those, and you can definitely see a scaffolding for a handful of different buildings, but nothing too concrete. Again, if it's 2 years out, we're not going to see something concrete over the wall until some point next year. Probably next summer or something, I imagine.
Or probably they'll announce a couple more things at D23. I know they did mention, like, yeah, there was going to be a Millennium Falcon ride where you can pilot the Millennium Falcon, and there's also going to be, like, a First Order themed thrill ride. And they also want to integrate...
I hope the First Order thrill ride is like a roller coaster or something and not like another motion simulator. I have Star Tours for that. I don't need another motion simulator. I want to be on a crazy roller coaster while I hear laser shots and, I don't know, Kylo Ren being like, I will get you! You will die! Or something like cool like that. I think it'd be a lot of fun. That's what I want. Again, I'm not speculating as to what they're doing. I'm saying what I want.
Yeah, what I hope for
also,
is...
Millennium Falcon's going to be a motion simulator, so, yeah, there you go.
What I'm really hoping for, if any of you are familiar with, like, what they've been doing with Shanghai and Hong Kong Disneyland, if you look at the current Pirates of the Caribbean ride, I believe in Shanghai, or was it Hong Kong? It's the one that recently opened that kind of was dismal. But anywho, it's a brand new experience. Like... They do integrate, like, just some of, like, the motion graphics, but it's not like Finding Nemo where it's just, like, right there in front of you, and that's the entire experience. But, like, they integrate, like, practical sets. They integrate, like, a lot of... just to make the experience much more immersive. I'm really hoping to, like, that Star Wars, this proposed Star Wars Land integrates this type of technology into future attractions.
I want something like the Tony Stark chase through Hong Kong.
That's a motion simulator.
Is it a motion simulator?
Yes, it is a motion simulator.
Crap. It's still kind of cool though. But yeah, I want an actual like experience. I don't want to be staring at a screen while my chair shakes.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping for that, and they've also talked about having more streetmosphere. Again, with the like I mentioned earlier, with like the First Order troopers just kind of running around Tomorrowland, like with recruiting. So I'm just kind of like just hoping to like they'll have some colorful people from the Star Wars universe just kind of like just being a part of that streetmosphere and just kind of like giving that immersive experience in there.
It's I don't like you guy. He just bumps into you and gives you a look and then like walks off. I'm sorry.
And I'm also hoping that Star Wars Land is just the working title for this area, because calling it Star Wars Land feels a little bit too meta for me.
It's a little too cheesy. I think it'd be cooler if they called it like Coruscant Back Alleys or something like that.
Well, they said it's a new planet, like kind of like a trading post type of planet area, so they're probably going to give it its own name, type of thing. So that's what I've been reading on it. So yeah, just hoping like that Star Wars Land is a working title, and we'll get more news at D23 as it comes out.
Yeah, I'm sure when they make the huge announcement, everyone will be freaking out about, oh my god, let's go to the Star Wars All the Planets guide from like 4 years ago that's super out of date, and let's see if that planet's on there and what it says.
And they'll probably re-reference in like future Star Wars movies and whatnot, and future Star Wars books and comics.
They'll shove it into books and comics first, because those are easier to get out. I'm sure I'll be reading one of the comics and they'll say a name like, that planet name sounds really familiar. You're like, it's the name of the land from Star Wars. It's the name of Star Wars Land. And I go, oh, there we go.
And Florida's also getting this treatment too.
I assume it's going to be called the same thing in both.
Yeah, they're doing the same design and the same scheme for both. And just right now, like, all you can really see is just a bunch of metal gears.
Yeah. Be kind of cool. Honestly, they should have just built it around Lothal. I think there's enough locales and stuff around Lothal that you could do it. Just have
Governor Price running around just giving everyone just like this sneering look.
Or every once in a while just have her come out and give some sort of speech. Welcome to Lothal. Hope you have a good Empire Day. Because here at Disneyland, every day is Empire Day.
Well, then again, it looks like they want to like set this like in the current trilogy universe, because they did allude to like, well, for continuity's sake, they are going to have a First Order themed ride, and if that is going to be part of the immersive experience, it's going to be taking place during the new trilogy-ish.
Yeah. All right, it's real cool. I can meet Poe Dameron. Yay!
And you can have a bromance with Poe Dameron.
He already gave his jacket to another guy.
I know. Jared's sad.
I am left out. But we are both like of Hispanic origin, so we can still do Hispanic origin high five, as I can do with Cassian. All right, we got Hispanics in the Star Wars universe, folks.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You also Disneybound as Cassian.
I do. Love my Cassian costume. I think I'm a cowboy.
Yeah, and I also for that I do the Krennic Disneybound, but I eventually want to get a Jyn Disneybound in order.
Yeah, and Deborah goes as K2, so it's actually kind of funny seeing the two of us together, because I'm trying to act all cool and she's just face bombing. It makes for great pictures.
Well, anyways, this has been another edition of Space Capes and Laser Swords.
Yeah, and you know what? Unfortunately, Season of the Force is over, but it's definitely something to look forward to, especially if you don't live in Southern California. You may want to try to plan a trip if you want to go to Disneyland during this time period, so you can check it all out.
Yeah, Season of the Force, they still have elements of their Star Tours is always going to be there. Launch Bay is going to be there. So if you're tired of like the long waits for Guardians of the Galaxy,
well, it's only going to be long waits for the first couple of months when it's brand new. Everything's that way. The Star Tours: The Adventures Continue was that way as well.
Oh, it's still a long line there, and like it was an hour wait for Pirates of the Caribbean last time I went.
Well, Pirates is always long too, because it's everyone's favorite ride, unless their favorite ride is Matterhorn or Haunted Mansion.
But anyway,
no, seriously, it's like those three rides.
Well, what's your favorite? Chantel's Treehouse.
Probably Pirates, actually.
Why Pirates?
One, you get the little bit of a roller coaster thing, but you have a lot of cool atmosphere. I mean, I'll have my complaints about the animatronics and the fact that like you have the new voices and the old voices that don't mesh well to me, but that's kind of part of the cheesy charm of it all. And I don't know, I just kind of like it. There's a lot of jokes that me and my friends have made while being on that ride. Yeah, there's just a lot of little fun things like that. Versus like half the time on the Matterhorn, I'm just getting jerked around. I'm not saying that in a sexual way, folks. I'm getting bashed back and forth, because if you're smaller, you can fit in those things kind of well. But if you're larger, you end up just getting your shoulders like bashing into the sides of your car over and over again. It is not fun. And then Haunted Mansion's great, but I don't know. Like, it just kind of nothing happens. It's really sad that I have to look forward to what I'm going to hear Madame Leota say, and I look forward to hearing the statues sing. And like those are my two parts that I really like.
I like original Haunted Mansion.
I like it when it's holiday, just because I like Oogie Boogie with his roulette wheel there at the end. That's just always fun to me.
Bad that I like holiday only for the fact that they have like the scented cookies when you go into the ballroom sequence.
I like that, and like I said, it's Oogie Boogie. Otherwise, I could do without it. Oogie Boogie was always my favorite character from that movie.
Which, by the way, you don't see like a lot of people Disneybound as Oogie Boogie, because I actually I want to see more people give Oogie Boogie some love.
I would totally do that if I could come up with like a green, like pointy hat.
We'll figure this out.
We can figure it out, yeah.
We'll do like holiday bounds, and we'll do like holiday themed bounds from esoteric Disney stuff.
It's not esoteric, it's just a character nobody does for me. But, yeah.
No, he has the best song in that movie. I don't care what people say.
He is also creepy as all else. Like, it's a guy who's essentially just a big dancing bag with eyes, and yet he's literally like a generic ghost they showed the opening of the Ghostbusters cartoon, but for some reason he sells it so well, and that's what makes him awesome. Yeah,
my favorite is still still Haunted Mansion because...
Oh my god.
What?
When Star Wars Land opens, Christmas will be Life Day. It is coming back.
Yes! There, we just made you remember that Life Day existences again.
I get to meet Itchy and Scratchy and all of the rest of Chewbacca's family.
You and perverted grandpa.
That is Itchy, I think.
They fight.
Or his son is.
Right, they fight.
I can't remember which one's which.
Hey, Jared, remember, we parked in the Itchy lot.
Yeah. Okay, now we're totally digressing. Thank you for listening to this episode of...
Forgot the name of the show?
I got tongue-tied. I've been laughing at all sorts of stupid references we're making. Thank you for listening to this episode of Space Capes and Laser Swords, and if you have a topic you'd like us to cover, whether it's books or movies or anything else Expanded Universe, even Legends, let us know in the comments and we will try to make it happen.
And remember, may the Force be with you.
And also with you.
We lift up our lightsabers.
We lift them up to the Force.